Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project. And man, does it feel so much better to be back. Not necessarily, I'm not on vacation anymore, so it feels good to be behind the microphone again with my close friend, Ben. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, but it's like you said, it's good to have you back. Again, Matt did an awesome job.
Oh my
No
gosh,
shot at
yeah.
Matt at all. Just good to have you back, like you said in the mic, having some nice consensual football discourse.
Yeah. Like you said though, Matt did a fantastic job. I did listen in on your guys' episode and everything, and I just want to say you guys are crushing it. To those of you that have showed support to that podcast episode as well, thank you guys so much for the support that you guys have shown this far. But going into it, not really too much happened this week as far as news. Free agency for the most part is subsided, except for the big news that we have today. So we're just going to dive into more arguments and fun topics until the season starts. And if it fits, we'll stick with a couple through the season. But with that being said, I am going to say a little bit of the news that we did get this week. The overtime rule has been changed for the playoffs. So from now on, both teams will get a chance to possess the ball in overtime as long as it's a playoff game. If both teams score the same amount of points, that's when it goes into sudden death. The Colts and Eagles proposed a rule change, and most of the NFL teams had agreed to do so. I will say this, when it comes to the overtime rule, I'm pretty positive that we actually discussed that and had that exact same resolution to that rule earlier on in the show. Do you remember?
Yeah, the only the only difference that we had is we proposed uh for it to be like the entire season, but I mean
Mm,
it just being the playoffs is
makes
really not
sense.
that big of a deal. But I want to say screw those three teams that didn't vote, because those
Yeah.
three teams that said nah, is
Yeah.
probably the Chiefs or something.
But John Harbaugh signed a 3-year extension with the Ravens. There's still no word on a Lamar Jackson deal, though. So that's a little bit interesting. Your Eagles, Ben, are bringing back their Kelly Green jerseys for next season. I love them. I mean, short and sweet, I love them.
It's about time. It's about time, honestly. Uh,
Speaking of the Eagles, former Saints and Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins has announced his retirement. And what were your feelings on Jenkins as an Eagle?
oh my goodness, I loved him. He was, I mean, one heck of a player. He's one of those people that are teetering on the edge. Like maybe he'll make it into the Hall of Fame. Maybe he won't. I'd be okay with either. He was an awesome player, but I mean, I know I say it a lot, but he loved the community of Philadelphia. He was he was he was a great guy, and his hit on Brandon Cooks in that Super Bowl will forever be playing in my head. Phenomenal.
He was really good. But speaking of retirement, Bruce Arians retired from coaching to move up into the front office role for the Buccaneers.
This one, I'm uh I think the NFL media is probably making a little bit bigger of a deal than what it probably actually is, just
Miami looks
because.
really good. Whoa.
Ooh, but Bruce Arians, like he even came out and said that he felt his coaches did most of the coaching job, and that he just was kind of just like the onlooker of it. But he's known as like this quarterback guru. But
Mhm.
as long as you have Tom Brady back there, it doesn't really matter who's the head coach of your football team.
Right.
And I mean, you might have to question about the play calling, but again, you have Tom Brady there. You really don't have to.
Okay.
So
Um, and then moving on, just going because I'll be honest with you guys, we got a long episode. And I'm sure that you see that with the timestamp. But anyway, so Bobby Wagner signed a 5-year, $50 million deal with the Rams. People are saying that the Rams found out how to turn cap space off. Uh, the way that I look at it is, I think cap space still exists. Cap hits still exist. But I think some teams are just better at managing it than others. But I do think that 5 years and 50 million is a little much for Bobby Wagner. I think it's close to, I mean, obviously not money wise, but I think it's close to just as crazy as the Von Miller deal in terms of age.
Yeah, and that's where like I'm going with it. Um I think $10 million is probably right around what he was gonna get. I mean, I think $10 million for a linebacker is
He's
hefty.
good.
Yeah, it's hefty, but like you said, he's I mean the best middle linebacker in football. And I
Yeah.
mean he's been the best middle linebacker in football for like 5 years now. But it's like you said, it's the 5 years attached to that.
Yeah.
He's 31 years old. By the time this deal runs out, he's gonna be 36. And I would be very, very shocked if he makes it to the end of this deal, just because he's playing arguably the most physical position in all of sports. I mean,
Yeah.
linebacker literally every play going head to head with 6'5", 300-pound guys, or meeting a running back running full speed into you is, I mean, it starts to take a toll on your body. And I'm very surprised that he signed for 5 years. But as for the cap space, like you said, if you're a good run team, cap space doesn't exist because
Yeah.
they know how to structure contracts to allow you to restructure contracts or cut players. So it just depends on your front office. Like the Saints, like I have no every single year they're in like the -40s, -50s, and they still somehow clear up cap. So
Yeah.
it depends on your front office.
I think the flexibility and everything is why the Packers have been so good for so long. I mean, this is how they've been able to maintain their good players, and this is how they've also been able to bring in good players as well. But I mean, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Um, we got plenty to argue about, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Jalen Ramsey came out with a list of his top 5 receivers in the league. And his list consisted of Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Odell Beckham Jr., and Cooper Kupp in that order. So if we made our own list, what would it look like? And if it, would it look the same? If not, who would you put at each spot?
Yeah.
What do you have for your list?
So before I go over my list, um, uh, it's very important that I make this specification. Um, I will not have Deebo Samuel on my top 5 list.
Me neither.
Um, well, the specification need to make though is it has nothing to do with like Deebo Samuel is a top 5 skill position player in the NFL.
Okay.
I don't think that's arguable. I mean, he put up crazy stats. My
Absolutely.
thing is if we're talking about just wide receiver, he's not going to be on that list because he's so much more than a wide receiver. I
Yeah.
mean,
What
he
did we call him?
literally
A running receiver, a wide back?
something like that. Um, it he's just he does so much. He splits a 50-50. It's not exactly 50-50, but I mean, he's a great running back. He's a great wide receiver. It's so he's not going to be on this list, but
He's
that's no
universal.
shot at him. Exactly. He's a top 5. He's a top 5 weapon in the NFL, I guess
Yeah.
is how I can rank that. But
He's football's version of baseball's utility player. So just to put that into perspective, but go for it.
um I would be really interested to see what your number one here is because I don't think it's arguable. I think Devontae Adams, I don't care
Yeah,
what anybody says,
it is.
is um is the number one wide receiver in um the NFL.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, that's obvious. In my opinion, I mean, his ability to create the separation that he needs is very impressive. And then he's also able to contort his body in such a way that he can make these catches, these big time catches that you need, that could be in the fourth quarter as well.
yeah. Um, and I'm gonna stick with Jalen Ramsey right now. I think it's Tyreek Hill. Um,
Mm.
yeah, let's hear it.
So for number two, and I'll be honest with you, Tyreek Hill is not on my list. Um, I think that
Ooh.
he's really good, but I mean, we're gonna find out. I mean, he could very well prove me wrong right here, strictly because of if he's fully healthy, and I'm jotting down this whole list if every player starting brand new, fresh, you know, DeAndre Hopkins is my number two.
Well, okay. So there's two specifications, or there's a specification that I think is very important. I think I think, I mean, we have to assume that all these guys, this is their ability. Like, you can't knock, and I'm not saying that you are, but like, you can't knock Tyreek Hill for having Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. I mean,
No, no, no,
that
no,
would,
not at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
I think, there were several different moments last season in which he could make more plays. There were several missed opportunities last season to get him up these ranks. I definitely think that he would be at like number 6 if we had talked about it, and just expanded the list. But in terms of just my top 5 though, and it could be arguable. I mean, you could very
It
well be right,
it
but
is.
I think this upcoming season with him being with Tua, you're really going to see more of the Tyreek Hill show and not so much, oh my God, look at Patrick Mahomes. Because I feel like more so the spotlight was on Tyreek Hill. And, I know that he's the fastest, and, I understand that he is a very good receiver. He is definitely, without a doubt, top 10. And I would definitely probably most likely put him at top 6. But in my opinion, I would put these receivers over him just
Yeah.
as of right now.
And then the other specification that I want to add, I'm doing, I don't know if this is how you did your list. I'm doing a combination of what we've seen in the past and then what we're gonna get in the present. So
Absolutely.
everything that they've done now, so this isn't strictly based off of just last year. I mean, if it was strictly based off of just last year, it would have been Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there for listeners. I think you're insane for not having Hill at 2. I think you're even more insane for having Hill not in your top 5. Dude, like, in it's the old adage, speed kills, but he has way more than just speed. I mean, like,
Yeah.
he knows the nuance. He's a nuanced route runner. He can run the routes like nobody's business, but again, his speed allows him to get separation. And outside of Devontae Adam, if I said I have one play and I need to score right now, Tyreek Hill is going to be that guy. I
Wow.
just I don't think he's faster than everybody. I don't care.
No,
You
no,
throw it
no.
to
I
him.
understand
I
that. I mean, if that's the case, then why isn't DK Metcalf in your list? You know, or if he is, then we're gonna get to it. But like, why wouldn't he be? Because he's really physical. He can run block. I mean, he's a good route
and
runner, and he's really quick, as we saw last season against the Cardinals.
this all right, and this is what I'm going to say about DK. DK's in top 10. He's not in my top 5. DK's problem is his effort. He has all of this intangibles, and he has all of this, like, he has everything he wants to be. I mean, if he put everything together, he could be he could, and I'm not saying he will be, but he could be the best wide receiver in the entire league. But
Put him on the Bears. I'm just
he's
kidding.
he's lazy. He
Well,
checks out. He checks out. Like, I mean, there was a clear difference between how he was playing with Russ and how he's not playing with Russ. And even when he's playing with Russ, which we'll see how he does this year, but I mean, there are times where he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to get the ball." Okay, he's lazy, and that's the problem I have with him. If he puts everything together and he goes in 100% on every single play, he absolutely has the opportunity to be the best wide receiver in the league, but he's lazy, and
I
that's and
think
that's hurting him.
I think that could be based off of the morale of the team in that situation.
He
A
was
lot of that, and I'm not gonna say, I mean, I do want to emphasize on, I mean, where his quarterback was at the moment. I mean, obviously, yes, in the press, like he did want to make sure that he wanted to stay in Seattle. But realistically, I mean, with all the offseason drama and everything that's going on, the fact that he has to share with Tyler Lockett and everything, and he's not like a true um he's not a standalone wide receiver, you know what I mean? Like he's not like um Devonte Adams was for the Packers, you know how I mean? Like, you know, how there's clearly a number two option. I feel like just the morale could have affected his effort. But I think, that could definitely play into it as well.
he always had those problems though. Like this isn't the first year he has you can see on tape he's given just less effort sometimes, and it's a bit annoying. But to Hill, however, DK ran a 4.33 at the combine. Does not run a 4.33 in real life. He's very fast. He does not run a 4.43 or 4.33 in football. I mean, we saw him in the combine when he came out. The dude had like 2% body fat in like
Yeah.
he has more than 2%. But it's one of those things where you try to drop and run as fast as you can. Tyreek Hill it's not close. I know he lost a 40-yard dash in the Pro Bowl competition. He's the fastest guy in the league, and if I needed play, I'm picking him. And
Okay.
like because my thing is you can hit him on the go route, you can hit him on the 9 route, you can hit him on the post route.
I mean,
But
DeAndre Hopkins up there too.
well, and I'll get there. But the thing
Okay.
too with Hill is I have confidence every single time that I see him going over in the middle of the field and hit him for a 10-yard crosser. He has the opportunity to take it to the
Yeah.
house
I'll give him
every
credit.
single time he gets that.
I'll tell you this though. I just like these other wide receivers more, and we'll obviously dive into it a little bit deeper.
And to your point though, D Hop is my third.
Third, okay. Well, I mean that's cool too. I mean, I thought you would be insane if he wasn't in your top five. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins has been arguably top three within the past 5 years. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy's been insane. So, but if D Hop's number three, and you did say this is based off of what we've already seen and then what we can potentially see in the future, I have Cooper
Mhm.
Kupp at number three.
Okay. I do have somewhere on this list.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not
My
gonna.
point, and I mean, I'm sure that we might have just jumbled around our list or whatever. I mean, with the exception to Tyreek Hill, obviously, but um, Cooper Kupp, I think, is just that guy because look at what he did in the playoffs, man. Like
Mhm.
it's obvious that team has so much faith in him to be able to go on those routes and everything that you mentioned before with Tyreek Hill, to where he can go. I mean, literally whatever you need, he'll be open. And I mean, it's good enough for number three in my list, but I mean, if I'm choosing, I would say Devontae and DeAndre are over Cooper Kupp as of right now. Like I said, though, all of these are subjective. I mean, all of these can very well change or very much change. Um, but I think, I mean, we could come back to this next year. I think this would be really fun to do. But
Mhm.
I would definitely say Cooper Kupp is number three right now. And I think that's it's not a bad pick.
No, not at all. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't say so at all.
All right. So
Um.
just to
Well.
review what we have so far, just because we're
mhm.
halfway. Ben, what was your top three?
Adams, Hill, and D Hop.
Okay. And then I have Adams, Hopkins, and Cup. So Ben, who's your number four?
Real quick for the D Hop for everybody like we tend to forget how good DeAndre Hopkins is
Yeah.
because he played with a terrible quarterback every single time he played in Houston, and still the dude was number
Well,
one, number two, or number three every single season that he's played with. He did play with Watson.
I was gonna say,
But he
yeah,
played with Watson for pretty much just 1 year. In
yeah,
the 1 year that he played with Watson, he was the number one wide receiver in football.
right.
And then he gets hurt this year, so people are like kind of sleeping on him. My concern for him is his longevity, and that's why I'm saying it's
Hmm.
important for us to talk about past and future because he probably only has like 2 or 3 like elite years left in the tank.
Yeah.
But I mean the catch, I'm forgetting which game it um was it Bang Bengals?
Oh wait,
Catch, I
wait.
think it
Oh,
was
you're
2
talking
years
about
ago.
the one where he went up with, I mean, two guys on him.
Yeah.
I want to say that one was against the Cowboys
Okay. Well,
or no, the Bills. I'm sorry, it was the Bills. Sorry,
it
it was the
was the
Bills.
Bills. It was the
Yeah,
Bills. That
that was
catch
the
was
reason why I
crazy.
have him so high up, just because it's like who else in the league could do that? And I mean, with Tyreek Hill's height and everything, it's like no, sorry, but no.
Yeah. Um,
All right, but
and so
oh yeah,
yeah,
continue.
for 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had Cup at 3, correct?
Yep.
You mentioned the future. And obviously we've only seen 1 year this guy I'm about to mention, but this 1 year is
Jamar
this guy
Chase.
I'm about to mention. Yeah, it's Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is going to be a top 3 wide receiver for the next 10 years in football.
Okay.
Um, I like Cooper Cup. And I think Cooper Cup, again, we'll get to Cooper
Ooh,
Cup
I
as
just
to
realized you put Jamar Chase over Cooper Cup. Okay.
mhm, I
Okay.
did. Um, I think Cooper Cup had a great year this year. But when it's all said and done, again, I think Jamar Chase just has more physical ability than uh Cooper Cup, so that's why I'm putting
Yeah.
him higher. I just think since he has the more physical ability, he has higher potential.
Hmm.
I mean, we saw how good he was in year 1. Imagine what this is going to be for the next 9 years.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so
Let
I
me
just think he has higher ability. But yeah, go for it.
my 4 and 5 spot is very interchangeable. For that
Hmm.
reason alone, I mean, both of these, I mean, these next two, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say both of them just because they're very young receivers. We could see either really, really good stuff from them or really, really bad stuff from them. And I really think that as of these two receivers, we really have untapped potential. So at my number 4 spot, I have Justin Jefferson,
Hmm.
and then I have Jamar Chase. I'm very impressed with Justin Jefferson, and coming from a Bears fan perspective, it sucks that we have to play this guy multiple times a year. And, and I'm sure
Yeah,
that
coming from a Bears fan, it
I
sucks to
was gonna
have
say,
JJ, huh?
yeah. Yeah. But as far as an Eagles perspective go, it has to bite at you a little bit more. So I get where you're coming from. And then as far as the Jamar Chase thing goes, I am totally with you. I think Jamar Chase is going to be really, really good. I think he has potential to take DeAndre Hopkins' spot when Hopkins is kind of regressing. But I think these two are interchangeable. I think that it's totally okay to put, Justin Jefferson at 5 and Jamar Chase at 4, or, the other way around. So, and I'm not even going to explain Jamar Chase anymore, just because, I mean, you basically already did. But yeah, I definitely believe in Justin Jefferson to get that done as well. And I definitely think that, our future when it comes to wide receiver help and stuff like that is very bright in terms of the draft as well, too.
No, again, absolutely. I cheated the system here. Um, I have a 5A and 5B.
Okay, that's fine.
So I cheated the system, but
Put
it's Cooper Cup
Hill,
and
put Hill
JJ.
in there then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Put Hill in there then.
yeah. Well, I couldn't decide between the two, so I did 5A, 5B, Cup and JJ. I think JJ is an awesome wide receiver.
Hmm.
Or Justin Jefferson for
Just
those
because you had
when I
him on
say
your
JJ.
fantasy team.
Well, um, I love JJ and everything. Um, I Jamar Chase, like I said, is just has a more physical upside than JJ. And also, we've seen when they've both played on the same team, Chase was clearly the number one wide receiver.
Mhm.
Um, so I think with the physical upside and what we've seen in the past, and obviously players can develop in the NFL and become better. But I think with Jamar Chase's physical upside and what we've seen in the past, um, I I think Jamar Chase is absolutely better than JJ, and that's no shot on JJ. JJ is awesome too. Um, but I can't decide with Cooper Cup and JJ just because they're the same
Yeah.
player. I mean, they're you know what you're going to get with them. They can, you're not going to expect them to take the top off, but they can take the top off on a defense. Every few games they can have this crazy home run threat, but what you're getting with them is the stable. You can throw it to them. They're going to run a perfect route. They're going to catch everything. They understand the nuances of the route running and the nuances of the defense. They're the exact same player.
Okay.
So that's why I
Um,
have them. But and I'm going to catch you off guard here. We've
yeah,
pretty much had the same exact list.
basically,
Um,
yeah. It's just
I'm
different
wondering,
order.
yeah, I'm wondering who your like 6 and 7 would be. Your 6, 7, and 8, or I guess for you, Tyreek Hill's 6. So who's your next three after Tyreek Hill?
So like 6, 7, or we know 7,
Seven,
8, or
eight, nine.
9. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna put a specific order on it right now just because, spur of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think CD Lamb would have to go up there. I really like
Okay.
CD Lamb. Stephon Diggs would have to be up there. Oh boy. I'm really trying to think. You put me on the spot here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm trying to go like team by team. I would say Mike Evans would have an argument.
Okay.
Let me just keep going though, just to say like who pops up and as like potential contenders, but I'd have to really analyze it to put in a spot. Um, yeah, you know, I mean, we haven't seen Michael Thomas play, and the longevity is really up in the air now, so I wouldn't put him there just yet. Um, man, there's a lot. I don't know.
I
Those are the three that I guess would that 3 or 4 that would be up there.
For me, the three in the order that I'm going to tell you that instantly pop into my mind is not Stephon Gilmore, Stephon Diggs,
Hmm.
AJ Brown, and DK.
Okay.
Um, Again, I think when it's all said and done, DK is probably going to be better than AJ Brown. But from what we've seen, you have to put AJ Brown in front of DK at least as of right now. Um, but those three instantly come to my head, and then like you said, you can make an argument for Keenan Allen. You can make an argument for CeeDee Lamb. You can make an argument for Chris Godwin. You can make one for Mike Evans. So there's a lot of other guys that you could make an argument for. But real quick, I'm on PFF's website, um, and I would love to see your opinion on this, because I think the quarterback play here has a lot to do with how this person's going to be viewed. They have Darnell Mooney at 24. Too high, too low, right around that spot.
Darnell Mooney at 24, you said?
Yes. So that's
I'd
right
say
around
it's fair.
that's right around like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Smith, Brandon Cooks is that range that he's mixed with.
I would say maybe a little bit higher than just a little bit. I wouldn't put him in the top 20, but I would say like 22 maybe. Because all those people that you just said I know that he's better than.
I do
Um,
not think he's better than Brandon Cooks.
I think it's arguable. I'm with you. I think Brandon Cooks is above him, but as far as Amon-Ra St. Brown and who's the other person that you listed?
Devontae.
Um, yeah, as of right now,
As
Devontae
of right
Smith.
now, yes, I think Devontae Smith will be better than Darnell Mooney.
I think
But
Mooney and Smith both have a crazy amount of untapped potential. Um, I think Mooney, and looking into it now, I think Mooney could be a potential wide receiver one option. I think I changed my mind there.
mm,
With the proper coaching and with the proper quarterback play and everything, team development, I think that he could be that guy. Um, not in the near future. But I think that he could be that guy. Whereas the other, three guys, Brandon Cooks could very well be that guy on another team. He's in a pretty crappy situation, and I think, put him on a team like who needs a wide receiver right now? I mean, I would say Chicago, but I mean, you need a proven quarterback there. Um, I mean, I don't know.
I'm
What?
I'm always hesitant. I'm going to be hesitant to ever say. And by the way, I mean this dude had a terrible quarterback play this year
Mm.
and last year, and he's put up 1,000-yard seasons in both. For Brandon Cooks, it's absurd.
Yeah.
He can be so good. But to your point, I Darnell Mooney can never be a number one wide receiver, but that's also because I feel like there's only 15 number one wide receivers in the league. I don't think there's 32 number one wide receivers in the league. Just like everybody likes to throw around elite quarterbacks, there's only 5 elite quarterbacks. Like, I'm not going to rank them. I can't think, but not everybody that's good is elite. Not everybody
So
that's good is a number one wide receiver. I think there's probably 15 number one wide receivers in the league. Just because you're the top wide receiver on your roster doesn't mean that you are the number one wide receiver in the league.
would you put Michael Pittman over Devontae Smith and Darnell Mooney?
Right now, if I had to rank the 3 just based off of what we've gone,
What we've seen, and then yeah.
Well, if it's what we've seen, then I'm confident Smith is going to be the number one wide receiver out of that group because Smith was amazing last year. It just hurts. Oh my God. Smith has so much untapped potential, and we saw that even coming out of the draft. But as of right now, Mooney, Pittman, then Smith. So
Okay.
Mooney at 1, Pittman at 2, Smith at 3. I think
Okay.
that will still probably change. I think
I
hopefully
think Smith has
Smith would
potential to go over Mooney, but I could definitely see Pittman being number 3 either way. We do have to move on though. Speaking of, I mean, plenty of wide receivers. We had a debate a couple weeks ago. We talked about Allen Robinson versus OBJ when the Rams signed him. And I said that Allen Robinson's a better player in terms of a wide receiver piece for the Rams than OBJ. Now I feel like I should clear the water just a little bit, just because what I argued and how I feel doesn't necessarily match up. But I feel like if I clarify just a little bit better, you'd be able to get on board. So I think that if it's health related and from a franchise standpoint right now, not judging on what they've done, I mean, I guess a little bit, but like, okay, from a franchise standpoint, okay, health related, it's a better situation. I would so much rather have Allen Robinson as my number one if it came down to it, if I'm starting a brand new franchise over Odell Beckham Jr., just because Allen Robinson tore his ACL 5 years ago and he's been playing on it ever since. He's been totally okay. Whereas Odell, I mean, he just tore it again. Longevity is an issue. So in terms of, the move being, a long-term option, I would so much rather I would sleep better at night knowing that Allen Robinson is filling that spot instead of OBJ. Also, if you think about it, Allen Robinson could have had a breakout year the year that he tore his ACL. I mean, if you want to play hypotheticals, the year that he tore his ACL was the same exact year that the Jaguars went to the AFC Championship. Blake Bortles was actually kind of doing good, dare I say, that season. And I think, had he had a stud wide receiver like Allen Robinson back in the day, he would have had another 1,000+ yard season. Speaking of 1,000+ yard season, he pulled off almost 3 of them with Mitch Trubisky under Nagy's offense. And since then, or since he's entered the league, I should say, his quarterbacks consist of Blake Bortles, Mitch Trubisky, and Chase Daniel. You look at OBJ, right? And he's had more 1,000+ yard seasons than he has under 1,000 yards, right? Very impressive resume. I will say OBJ, in terms of what he's done in his career, is a much better receiver than Allen Robinson. But I will say OBJ's situation has been much better than Allen Robinson. because OBJ's been playing with Eli Manning, which is a Hall of Famer. We both know. Baker Mayfield, which I would say is much better than Mitch Trubisky, Blake Bortles, or Chase Daniel right now. And then Matthew Stafford, which I've always been high on. So statistically speaking, in summary, yes, Odell Beckham Jr. is the better wide receiver. Long term, I would say Allen Robinson is the best going from today. That's that's me clearing up the water.
Well, I'm gonna push back on that a little bit again. I'm gonna flip what you said. If it's for 1 year, I'm taking Allen Robinson. If it's for 5 years, I'm taking OBJ. Literally, my only concern with OBJ is how he's going to play this year. We saw him recover from an ACL tear. He was fine. It didn't affect his game at all. It didn't affect his game at all. So I'm not worried about his recovering ability. Again, if it's for 1 year, absolutely give me Allen Robinson because he's going to play more games. But I have no worries that OBJ is a better player. And I guess your only concern has to be injury. But my pushback on that is it didn't affect him the first time. Medicine's getting better every single day. And obviously it can. I mean, there's a chance that it is going to hurt him. But I would argue that I like him better, but I know.
I mean, yeah, really quick, let's take a quick break and we will come right back. After a brief appearance by our special guest for the week, Mary, Ben, okay, so like you were saying about, OBJ and everything, when it comes down to reliability and stuff like that, I guess I can understand where you're coming from in terms of, big game scenarios and stuff like that. His yardage and touchdowns and stuff like that. I mean, it's very good on paper. I guess coming from a franchise standpoint, the reason why they, signed Allen Robinson was strictly just because it was the safer option. And, I mean, as of right now, Allen Robinson isn't, starting a rehab. He isn't rehabbing a injury or anything, so he can start on week 1. Whereas signing, say, Odell, you kind of have to wait until I think October is his closest return date. So that's like almost halfway through the league, or the league year, or whatever you want to say, the season, sorry. So like I said before, though, it was just a safer pick. That's why I said he was a better receiver. I guess I should have said he was a better option and better, when it comes to free agency, because let's be honest, Allen Robinson probably wouldn't have gone there had they signed Odell Beckham Jr. to a 1-year deal, because it's like, cool. So where am I going to fit in when Odell comes back from injury? You know what I mean?
Yeah. My thing when it comes to him, like, and I get what you're saying. I think he's the safer option. Absolutely. I just think NFL teams, front offices, coaches think that they're smarter than everybody else in the room. So they probably think that it again. So like, I think they can probably get more out of Allen Robinson than what they would have been able to get out of OBJ, which I think is just absurd. But we'll see. I mean, I think Allen Robinson's a great player. I mean, again, like when he's had consistent quarterback play, I mean, he put up like a 1,400-yard season.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson's awesome. I'd take OBJ. I think OBJ is the biggest what if. I mean, if the dude never tore his ACL, I mean, he could literally have gone down as one of the best players in NFL history. And even after his torn ACL, dude has played amazing.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. So are we good to move on to the next segment? Did I clear the water for you? Because I knew that. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm going to need you to turn your camera on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a Zoom meeting. This is how we record our podcasts and stuff like that. Really quick. Okay. So I did a little thinking in the couple weeks, I guess, that I was gone. And this is something I've really put a lot of thought into. So Ben, you know that I'm coming down to Indianapolis, your stomping grounds, next week, this upcoming Tuesday.
Mm.
You know, very exciting. We have talked about, potentially getting together, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Um, However, we did have a phone call earlier, and um, you did say that you didn't have any plans.
Yeah,
So
not that I knew of.
the reason why me and Caitlin are going down is because of a concert, and we're super excited to go and everything. But because you're my co-host, and because I'm so grateful to have you on the show and everything, to with me every single week. You've been there for me as far as my ACL tear when senior season and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
for me to just be like, dude, I really appreciate you. So for that, I'm not expecting anything in return. But because of, the appreciation and everything that I have for you, you, my friend, are going to see the Philadelphia 76ers play the Indiana Pacers on Tuesday. I got you tickets. All you got to do is drive there, let me know how much parking is or whatever, and I'll send you the money. But
No, God,
you
no, I'm not
are
paying for parking.
you are going to this game. Just wanted to tell you, this is all breaking news. He had no idea that we were doing a surprise at all or anything, as far as he knew we were about to get into bold takes a little bit. But the playoff season is coming up, and games right now for the Philadelphia 76ers are more important than ever. So what I am getting you is 2 tickets to go to the game with one person of your choosing. I
I
know a
bet he
lot of
wish he. I bet he wish he joined now,
yeah,
huh?
probably. But just wanted to say thank you. It's nothing like it's not a gift for any specific reason other than just like, dude, I appreciate you.
Mm.
This is, like I said, I've been thinking about this for a little bit. I did start a new job recently, so I finally got a little bit of cash in my pocket, so I was able to I think if I'm able to spoil myself and my girlfriend with a concert, I should be able to spoil my buddy as well. So my gift to you is some tickets.
That's not at all what I was expecting. Thank you.
So
I'm stunned that I can't even.
yeah,
I've seen a Sixers game like twice in my entire life.
well, this is
So,
about to be your third. Yeah, right down the
yeah.
road and everything, man. All you got to
I
do is get
mean,
yourself there. It's going to be Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I'm not going to
yeah,
reveal the section or whatever, just because of the security reasons for us.
no,
But,
no.
this is just, I don't know that. And I mean, hey, you know what? Final season is actually going to come up as well for college and everything. And might as well take a little break from, your mindset and everything to kind of ease your way into it as well. So what better way to spend that than going to see your favorite team play one of their last games of the regular season?
Oh yeah, and I know this is not at all what you were trying to get at. I'm gonna get you back though. I'm gonna get you
No,
back.
no,
Don't
no,
you
no.
worry.
Seriously,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
no, 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 no. I knew that you would say that and everything. Either that or you weren't gonna take them. Um, but it's just something that I've been thinking about for a while now, and I'm just really excited for you. As far as me going down to Indianapolis, I'm not entirely sure how much we'd be able to do as far as like going out to eat or something like that prior to the concert, just because um I have class that day, so we're gonna go immediately after I'm done with that class. And we have like a VIP session with the artists that we're going to go and see too. So we're trying to get there a little bit early so we can get front row and stuff like that. So it's pretty crucial. But just figured, hey man, you should probably have some plans that day too, especially if you're not doing anything. So I think I
Yeah,
played
no,
my cards right too.
I was happy to even because again, I'm sure you guys have figured this out. For the people who have watched and listened for a long
Mhm.
time, me and Ryan aren't just podcast hosts. We're not just
Yeah.
co-hosts. We're close friends off the field.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pictures is, I mean, the big picture that he has on his watch screen.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So,
For
I
those
mean,
that
we're
don't know, I have a picture of him and our starting quarterback holding me up. Let me tell a quick story before we move on, and I'll
Mhm.
let you have the floor again. But really quick, basically, I had my surgery on the Monday before our first sectional game. And so I made it a priority. I was like, look, doc, I got to get out of here and, onto the field at some point just so that I can go and see the game and everything. And as far as I know, the team had no idea that I was coming, maybe a slight idea, but they didn't know for a fact that it was going to happen. um and so a lot of the people that were on that team mean a lot to me and you. But as far as that core memory goes, I mean, everybody and everything coming up to me and stuff like that in that moment, um it's just it was really cool for me just to be able to be included, even though I was out with a pretty bad injury as well. So at the end of the game, they kind of held me up on my shoulders and stuff like that. And um, you know, it took me to the team huddle and stuff like that. That way I was still included and everything. So Ben was like probably, I think, the number one person that came up to me, pick me up out of my wheelchair or whatever, because I needed my knee to be,
Yeah.
elevated and stuff. But yeah, my mom got a picture of him and the quarterback, Preston, holding us up. So it's one of my favorite pictures, and it's been my little screensaver on my watch for about a year now. So it's been pretty crazy. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's not just something. One thing that I really like about the podcast too is that outside of it, knowing that I'm going to a community school near my house, and that all my friends are basically moving away, the podcast really helps me because I'm able to see and talk to you at least once a week. And that's really good. So, yeah, it was just kind of like a little appreciation gift for you. So I'll let you have the floor now. Just wanted to tell my little story in terms
Yeah.
of just that.
No, well, and to the football thing, I think it was important that you even, I mean, that you were there. I mean, you might not have been able to play in that game, but I mean, again, I mean, you're a brother, and I think it's important that you were there, and it was important for me to be one of the two people that like helped you out onto that field because, like I said, I
Hmm.
mean, we're close friends. But I was happy to even just hang out with you because what he told me was like, hey, you guys free, like, want to hang out before the thing? And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, sure. Like,
Yeah. My point
awesome.
originally was just, hey, I'm in the area. I might as well stop by. And so, that being said, though, I mean, and really, really quick, I mean, not really too much of a story, but the second that I started going to Wheeler, I remember, I mean, the first person I talked to on the field was you, and you're just like, just follow me. And I was just like, all right, cool. And didn't really know what to expect, and he like walked me through stretches and stuff and just pointed me in the direction I needed to go. Before I knew it, I'm starting varsity and stuff, and I got a band of brothers around me to support me and everything. So I credit him with at least kickstarting that. And then I'm just really thankful for what we've got going on so far and what's kind of evolved out of that. So you got
Giving me
any final?
goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. But with that being said, the show must go on, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
But before it does, we have our second sponsor, other than Anchor.fm. That was, I mean, you guys have heard the advertisement at the beginning. If you live in the Northwest Indiana region, you live close to the barbershop that I go to. You can get the freshest cut at Uppercuts Grooming, located in Valparaiso, Indiana. Make your own appointment at UPPERKUTZ grooming.com. Shout out to Dex for the sponsorship and the support. We really appreciate it. The man makes his own music as well, called The Immaculate Reception, and you can find that on Spotify or Apple Music. I listen to it. I know that The Immaculate Reception is just his first song or whatever that he put out. The man's got good sound, man. Like, I will be completely honest with you, and it's not just because he's like helping us out with like reaching out and stuff like that. I mean, just the beat and everything. I know there's a closing part to the song that has like kind of like a piano solo almost that kind of finishes it out. And it's produced. Oh man, I don't know if it's produced, but he partnered with one of my friends from I think my freshman year. Man, his name's Garrett. He works at the barbershop and everything, and he is just a stud on the piano. So go and check out the music and everything. It'd be really appreciated. And thanks again, Dex, for the support, because being able to advertise and stuff at your shop means a lot to us. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, anything I mean, if anybody can think of, I mean, if anybody wants to, I mean, it's a long shot, but I mean, anybody wants to sponsor us, I mean, just literally just reach out to me or Ryan. We're always open to it. But like you said, big thanks to Dax for it, and we appreciate it.
So without further ado, we're actually not going into bold takes because I have a come to Jesus moment. This I actually wrote this just last night. I was laying in bed and stuff, and I just kind of had a vision almost. It was just I think just and I fell victim to it as well. Justin Fields is really overhyped by Chicago Bears fans, and he's deserving the little media attention that he's getting right now. I mean, the positive stuff that he's gotten, I mean, like I said, he's deserving of as well. He has shown flashes. Yes. He has potential. Yes. Through the roof. But that also doesn't mean that he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. The 49ers game was awesome. I mean, everybody realizes, I mean, remembers the play of him escaping like 18 different 49ers. I know that's an over exaggeration, but to get into the end zone, that was really cool. And he is the type of player to do that consistently as well. The Packers game, the second matchup specifically, that one was, I mean, more than fun to watch, even though the ending was a little, underwhelming. But last but not least, the Steelers game. Oh my God, they should have won that game. But I mean, just the tight pockets and everything that he was able to throw it in and everything. Those are the flashes that I could come up with. But the bad was also there. I mean, Allen Robinson open downfield should mean touchdown, game plan or not. I mean, I remember arguing with you like, look, the reason why Justin Fields didn't throw that pass is because that wasn't part of the play. That's not who that design play is. Well, guess what, buddy? You are the starting quarterback of the franchise. I mean, you are the guy. You are the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. You have every right to control the chess pieces at that point, the second that ball is snapped. Whether or not Matt Nagy designed the play to go to Darnell Mooney on a curl route, that ball needs to go to Allen Robinson no matter what. I understand that it's your rookie year. I understand that you were listening to your coaches because you should. But at the same time, you were the head honcho as soon as that ball's in your hand, buddy. And the second that you get that, you make all the decisions, whether or not it's a good throw, whether or not it's a bad throw, whether or not it's an open pass, whether or not it's you're threading the needle into Jesse James, some, close to no name tight end that, hardly anybody knows. It's like, you either do that or you throw it to the number one guy that can score the ball. So, I think he also made some awful plays against a beat up Baltimore team this season. And he also needs to be more disciplined under pressure. I mean, losing the ball and making dumb decisions can get him hurt and potentially cost him his career. But now the question is, should Chicago fans still be excited? Do I think Justin Fields is still the guy? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. I'm ecstatic. It's a good quarterback. He's shown flashes. He's a quarterback in Chicago, man. That's all that matters. He has potential to be great in the city of Chicago specifically, but that is a very, very low bar. I should say that. Somebody that I guess I could compare him to, not necessarily skill-wise, but more so excitement level, was Mitch Trubisky. As soon as the Bears traded up for him and stuff, I joked around with my dad because he's from the same exact city, Mentor, Ohio, that my stepmom actually went to school with or in. So, the bias was there already. All they needed to do was just pick him up. From that, point on, we knew like, yes, he was going to sit behind Mike Glennon. Oh dear God, don't even remind me of that. But, I think when it comes to, Mitch and the excitement level that I had for him, he had a couple good shines, but, and we'll get to that as well. But, I was very excited, but he turned out to be very underwhelming. And for that, I will conclude with this statement. Years 2 and 3 will really define whether or not Justin Fields gets his money and respect from Chicago and its fans. What do you got?
Well, all right. So I think he was getting overhyped coming into the season. I think people, because I already know Chicago Bears fans are gonna be like, what is Ryan saying? He just compared Justin Fields to Mitch Trubisky. What people need to understand is Ryan is not saying Justin Fields is going to be Mitch Trubisky.
Mm-mm.
And he's not saying that Justin Fields isn't going to be good. He's not even saying Justin Fields isn't going to be top 10. He's just saying people need to calm down a little bit on him.
Yes.
Realistically, if we see a development arc, I think his high end, and I've said this coming out in the draft, and I'm going to say it now, his high end is Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you said, it depends on how these next 2 or 3 years are going to go.
I will say this really quick. The thing that Chicago fans really need to recognize, and something that I have come to recognize just within these past couple weeks, is that high excitement levels can also lead to extremely high disappointment. And with that, I think that it's extremely unfair to the players. The critics and everything that Mitch Trubisky had to deal with in Chicago was completely unfair to him, judging by the system that he was playing in and the unfair amount of flexibility that the head coach at the time was giving him, in my opinion. I don't even think John Fox wanted him as a quarterback. I don't think Matt Nagy wanted him as a quarterback. With that being said, I mean, yes, Chicago kind of, loved Mitch Trubisky going forward, but and I think Chicago still supports Mitch Trubisky, but I think the unfair treatment that was given to Mitch Trubisky wasn't because or it wasn't primarily because he was bad, but more so because they didn't get the guy that they thought that they were getting. And that's why everybody was so disappointed in the end. But go ahead, buddy. You had a couple points.
Yeah, no, and again, like I agree with, I mean, everything that you said. Again, I think we'll see how he develops under Eberflus. But like we said, he can. I think he has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think Bears fans were overrating him a little bit. Like you said, thinking he was the second coming of Jesus. I do think he could be a Russell Wilson someday. It'll just depend on again how he develops. But ironically, so for people that don't quite understand what's going on, me and Ryan, a few days leading up to the podcast, have a little conversation about what we want. He just told me he was going to have a come to Jesus. I had no clue that this is what it was going to be about. And I told him, I said, I want to play a Justin Fields game, which is really funny because this Justin Fields game literally plays exactly along those lines of what you said. We didn't have that planned out at all. So it'll be fun. He still doesn't know what this game is.
Yeah,
you probably, I mean, after thinking, you could probably start taking a guess on what I'm saying here. But we're gonna pin these quarterbacks against Justin.
Let me just say really quick. I do think, I mean, coming out of the draft, Mitch Trubisky was extremely overrated as well. So the high expectations and everything set for him was, I mean, astronomically high. I just looked at his draft card, right? Like his comparisons and his rating and stuff like that after the combine and stuff. And Mitch Trubisky was given Pro Bowl ratings. I mean, he was a future Pro Bowler, and his draft comparison was Matthew Stafford, right? It's like, okay, but now if you look at Justin Fields, Russell Wilson is his comparison, right? And so it's like, I would so much rather have a comparison of Russell Wilson than Matthew Stafford, even though I love both quarterbacks. But it's like, now we do have every right to be excited, but to say that he is, there's one thing to be excited and one thing to be extremely biased for him. So, I just got to find the middle. But back to your game.
Well, and to that point too, you can definitely see a Russell Wilson comp to Justin Fields. It's a lot harder. Like you have to squint and use binoculars to see the Mitch Trubisky, Matt Stafford thing, but it's a lot easier to see the Justin Fields comp. But again, so we're gonna go through, let's see, 25 quarterbacks. I have a list of quarterbacks pulled up. I don't know how many I'm gonna have you pin up against them, but we're gonna pin you, and this is, we'll say,
is
for
this
3
judging
years.
by for the next 3 years? Okay.
This is for 3 years, and I mean, this is what you think his development arc is gonna look like. Biasly or unbiased, so you can look at it whatever you want.
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna get an easy. See, this is already off the bat. I feel like this is already hard, and not because of play skills, but Tom Brady or Justin Fields.
Tom Brady. He's the greatest of all time.
Exactly. The only reason I'm saying it's hard is because we don't know if he's going to be playing for 3 years.
Yeah, I think here's also I mean, I think with all of these quarterbacks, there's already a bar that's set. And when you look at Justin Fields, there's a bar that he hasn't reached yet. And it's just like, is he going to reach that bar in 3 years? Is he going to be close to that quarterback's comparison? Or where will he be in 3 years? Will he be better than or worse than that quarterback in that 3 years? So I think that that's what we're looking at as far as that. But anyway.
All right. So Tom Brady. All right. I think this is another easy one. Aaron Rodgers.
God, I hate you. Aaron Rodgers is going to be better. But I will say this, though. In terms of legacy, though, I think Justin Fields has potential to be better. But in terms of 3 years, no. But before, I say this, Aaron Rodgers will not, I can say this honestly, unbiased and everything. Aaron Rodgers would not have a Super Bowl ring had Jay Cutler not get injured in that game. Just saying.
And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Aaron Rodgers, to say that he might have a better legacy, that is bold. I mean, that could have gone on a bold take.
I'm saying no. I'm saying Justin Fields could have a better legacy than Aaron Rodgers eventually, but right now, within the next 3 years, if we're going off of that, absolutely not.
And then this will be one of my bold takes. I would be shocked if Aaron Rodgers is or if he does, just because Aaron Rodgers is the second most talented quarterback. I'm not saying best. There's a difference. Second most talented quarterback of all time. Bold take. You'll see who my number one is, which is very bold. Nobody talks about it, and I don't know why.
I'd slap you right now like Will Smith to Chris Rock. But
he's the number talent-wise. I'm not talking about best. I'm not talking about rings. He's the second best talented quarterback of all time. Who is more talented than he is? The difference between talent. Yeah. There's a difference between talent.
Save it for another episode.
Yeah. This is, again, easy. Josh Allen or Justin Fields. Unbiasedly, come on now.
I think Josh Allen's going to get himself a Super Bowl within the next 3 years. So no.
Okay.
I was thinking about the bar as far as where Josh Allen is, but like you said, I think Justin Fields could be a potential top 10 quarterback, so he will compete at a high level later on. But in terms of Josh Allen and within the next 3 years, Justin Fields isn't going to touch that.
I think quarterback 8, just looking at this list I have pulled up here, is where you can start having the argument for Justin Fields. I would be and I'm going to be, and I know you're going to, we'll see. Maybe past Ryan would have probably argued these other guys, but Justin Herbert.
Going. I like Justin Herbert a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got it all. I mean, he's got the charisma. He's got, on and off field swagger, and he's just a genuinely likable character. But in terms of skill level, I don't know if Herbert's going to get himself a Super Bowl, but he's going to be up there. No,
Herbert
not
has
within the
this.
next 3 years, but I'm just
Thank
saying,
you.
I just wanted to make that clear. I'm not comparing Justin Fields there just yet, but God, I love Herbert. He's got all the potential in the world right now to be a great quarterback. So just saying, but
Dude is in his second year, probably has the biggest arm in the NFL.
I will tell you guys this right now. 9-year-old Ryan would be screaming at the top of his lungs right now, because if he could see Justin Fields compared to Jay Cutler and everything, maybe not 9-year-old, but like, let's say like 13-year-old Ryan would be, really wanting to beat me up right now because of all the unbiased thinking that I'm doing right now, because I know the little kid in me is really irking to just come out and just yell. But I'm trying really, really hard here to do a legitimate analysis for you guys to get yourself the best football content on whatever network that you guys are listening to, which is what I believe we provide. So, but continue
Yeah.
with this game.
Patrick Mahomes.
No.
No. I think this is where it gets a little debatable, but I think these next two quarterbacks, I'm still taking over him.
Let's see it.
Matt Stafford.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Not within 3 years is how I'm
Okay.
going to answer that.
Okay. Joe Burrow.
No.
All right. This is where I think in 3 or 4 years, this is where I'm going to have them slotted in.
Okay.
Kyler Murray.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we go any farther, don't tell me your point of view, because I don't want to make it seem like I am completely influenced by you at all. Let me get,
Okay.
and I really don't mean to be that guy,
No,
but
you're good.
let me put my point of view out there really quick before I can even think about being potentially swayed by what you're thinking. So,
No,
Kyler
okay.
Murray, I like Kyler Murray a lot, but I like Justin Fields' deep arm more than I do Kyler Murray. Even though both of them can shine like that as well. And yeah, give me Justin Fields. Give me Fields.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I'll add what I have to say after these next few guys after you're done.
Specifically Justin Fields over Kyler Murray, because I think Chicago is going to be getting a number one receiver within the next 3 years that Justin Fields can shine with. So whether that's in the draft, whether that's free agency with the boatload of money that they have, but continue.
I think if you can train Fields' pocket presence, he's just a better Kyler Murray. So yeah, I would agree. Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields can be more disciplined than Dak Prescott. And it's not just a knock at Dak at all. I think Dak can be really good, but I think, yeah, the wide receiver core that Dak had last season, he should have had a lot better stats with. So give me Justin Fields within the next 3 years.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Russell Wilson.
Are we talking legacy, or are we talking progress within the next 3 years? How do you want to scale this?
For the next, I'm saying for the next, so not in 3 years, but for year
skill level 2, starting
3,
now to the next 3 years.
Now, for the next 3 years.
I think Russell Wilson's going to regress, so give me Justin Fields.
Wow. That's where it starts.
I really like Russell Wilson right now in the Broncos and everything. I don't think that they're going to the Super Bowl just yet. But Russell Wilson will get up there in age and everything, and I think the competitive AFC West is going to get to him as well. And when it comes down to it, when he gets ready to retire and everything, I think Justin Fields is going to be towards his peak. So, yeah.
Okay. For 3 years, it's crazy. For next year, the year after, and the year after that,
here's what I'm going to tell you. Next year, Justin Fields will not be better than Russell Wilson. The year after that, Justin Fields is going to start showing a little bit more, but he's not going to be better than Russell Wilson. Year 3, he's going to be astronomically better than Russell Wilson.
See, I wouldn't say astronomical, but I think I agree with that arc track with you. The development arc. I
He's
think
going to go like
next
this.
year and the year
Russell
after.
Wilson's going to go like this. So
I think Russell Wilson next year and the year after will be the better quarterback. Third year, Justin Fields will be. So for 3 years, Russell Wilson is 2 out of 3. So I got to go Russell Wilson. You got 2 more for you until we're calling it quits here for this fun little game.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because I don't like Lamar Jackson's arm. I don't. And Justin Fields has a better deep ball, and I think that Justin Fields can be a more accurate quarterback. So yes, absolutely. When we're talking more athletic, that can be an argument. But in terms of Lamar Jackson, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Fields has more upside.
I think he has more upside. To say absolutely is crazy to me. And then actually I lied. Here are the last 2. Now we're gonna start pitting him against the other guys in his class. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. The last 5 years, the Jacksonville Jaguars has been the highest spending team in the NFL, and they've only reached the AFC Championship once. What other times have they made the playoffs within the last 5 years?
I'm just saying. What quarterback would you have?
Well, Justin Fields, but let me talk just really quick. It's because of the tools and everything that he will have set around him in terms of protection, in terms of I'll tell you this, for protection levels and stuff, having a former offensive lineman as your general manager to help protect your franchise quarterback is so much better than a team that just wants to spend a crap ton of money on receivers that don't really deserve it. When you come down to it, pocket presence is extremely crucial when it comes to quarterback development, is it not? It's really, really hard to have pocket presence when you can't have time to develop in the pocket at all. And so with that being said, yes, absolutely, I will take Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence.
Again, it's not, again, I'm not comparing teams. I'm literally just comparing quarterback to quarterback. You stick these 2 guys on the same team.
Who am I starting?
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Fields.
I would disagree. Trevor Lawrence, I have literally one of the best quarterback prospects of literally the last 50 years. And
absolutely.
I don't think anything has changed. The only reason that he played supposedly bad was because of his terrible team around him. I think in the Colts game, we already started to see the flash of who he could be. And I think if he continues to develop, and again, that it's depending on his roster, but we're taking the roster out of this, I think he could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence is a dog.
He didn't show me as much as Justin Fields did with, both players having awful development and coaches and stuff like that. But I guess we can always just agree to disagree on that one. And if you're going to ask me Trey Lance, I'm just going to refuse to answer because I don't know very much about Trey Lance and I haven't seen that much of him. So I plead the fifth on that one. I don't think, and that's one of those situations where I don't think that I deserve a standpoint just because I don't have my research done on both of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Please tell me Mac Jones.
Sure, we'll see Mac Jones, but we already know the answer to this.
I don't like Mac Jones.
Well, I don't. To see you don't like Mac Jones, I think is one thing. I'm
just saying as a quarterback. I think it's Bill Belichick that's the mastermind behind all of it. There's a reason why Mac Jones wasn't picked number 1. You know what I mean?
I think the reason people don't like, I think he's an awesome thrower of the football. Mm-hmm. He's not a new age quarterback. That's what I'll have to say. He sits in the pocket. He's not really mobile, he can throw the football.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
but yeah,
Mac Jones will be decent, yes, but I think as far as, where they'll be in 3 years, I think Justin Fields is going to be better.
I
But
completely agree.
are you ready to go into bold takes?
I don't think you're ready to go into bold takes.
I don't think Bears fans are ready to accept the fact that an awesome, Twitter presence from Bears fans and stuff like that is going to be dissing their team in one of the picks. So do you want me to start with my Bears bold take, or you want me to do the other two? Just because,
you can do the other two. But before you go, I think it'll be funny because you're swinging one way when it comes to being unbiased. And you'll see with one of my picks. We'll see. Well, you'll see where my mind is at. But
okay,
let's go.
Bold take number 1: Tua Tagovailoa will have a breakout season and silence the critics next season. It's not as spicy, but we're getting there.
Okay.
Here's your draft one. Yes. Kenny Pickett will be taken in the top 10, and he'll be picked before Malik Willis or Desmond Ridder.
Okay.
And then last but not least, the 2018 Chicago Bears were the most overhyped, fluky team in the past 5 years.
Okay. So real quick, let's run through this. I'm going to disagree with you on the Tua take, but I could see it happening. At one point I loved Tua, but for the bold take, I agree with a part of the Kenny Pickett. I think Malik Willis is the QB1. I just think he has the physical upside. And like I said, NFL teams think they're the smartest people in the room, and they're going to think that they can turn Malik Willis into Josh Allen.
No,
which is exactly. But I mean, I wanna make our Bears listeners mad. How could I not pick the
we do
Bears
have a
take?
big percentage of listeners in Illinois, according to anchor.fm. So shout out to the Illinois people.
Someone from like Norway too, or something like that.
Sweden, I want to say.
Sweden.
I don't know.
Yeah, Sweden. That's what it is.
So who do I credit for the most for the most successful Bears season in a while? Whoever makes the NFL schedule is the answer. So the teams that the Bears lost to, the Packers once, which at that year they were 6-9-1. They lost to the 7-9 Dolphins. They lost to the 11-5 Patriots, led by Tom Brady. Weird thing to think about right now, anyway. And then the 5-11 Giants those are the only team that they lost to. They also beat the 10-6 Seahawks, which is one of 2 impressive wins, in my opinion. They beat the 3-13 Cardinals, 5-11 Buccaneers, 4-12 New York Jets, 6-10 Bills, 6-10 Lions, 8-7-1 Vikings, 13-3 Rams, which is that other team, and then the 4-12 49ers. Now, the number one thing that people want to talk about regarding that 2018 season was how good the defense was, right? I mean, any defense is going to be good with that kind of schedule, right? So if you think about this, you look at Mitch Trubisky. He had and this is funny because of the statement I'm about to say. He had basically Baker Mayfield's best season just that year. Yeah. He had 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. And I think Baker Mayfield was a little bit higher in touchdown rate, but it's whatever. The Pro Bowlers that year, right? Mitch Trubisky, Charles Leno Jr., Cody Whitehair, Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson, and Tariq Cohen. Can you tell me what any of those players have done since then? And I'll even tell you this, add on to the bold take or whatever, but Khalil Mack, I'm happy he's gone. In all honesty.
Big swing from what you were at 2-3 weeks ago.
Absolutely. I was a little heartbroken, but after thinking about it, it's like, dude, 60 million in my pocket and an injury prone edge rusher is out the door. But if you think about it, okay, so Mitch Trubisky, right? Starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you have Charles Leno Jr., which I'm pretty sure is playing in Washington right now. You have Cody Whitehair, which is still a Bear, but for now, just because they need more help at offensive line, and that's the best that they've got, really. Akeem Hicks, God, I love Akeem Hicks, and I will tell you this right now: is injury prone or however you want to say it, Akeem Hicks, he can be good when he plays. Otherwise, he's not really that guy.
He has the Malcolm Jenkins thing, where he could be a Hall of Famer. Is it likely? No, but he can be.
Yeah. Look at Khalil Mack again. Like I said, I mean, he had pretty solid seasons with us, but at the same time, I mean, he was injured for a lot of those games. You have Kyle Fuller, which is like, man, I was really upset that he was cut. But what happened in Denver? Oh, yeah, he was basically cut. Eddie Jackson, the most criticized safety in all of football, basically. That was very exaggerated. I don't believe that just yet. I haven't done any research on that. But, he's been awful as far as the last couple seasons. And then Tariq Cohen. I'm sorry, buddy. But, I mean, haven't really done much in 2 years. Yeah. So in conclusion to this bold take, the Bears should be worried about this happening again. I mean, we have a great defensive coach that can develop young players and get us where we want to be in the win column. The offense has hardly any help. I mean, please tell me, can you name 2 other receivers other than Allen Robinson on the wide receiver group out of that team?
Wims.
Okay, yeah, the guy that threw a punch at that Saints guy that one time. Cool. I mean, there was other ones as well. I mean, if you think about it. So basically for Wims, I mean, yeah, like I said, I mean, he was that guy that slapped that Saints guy that one time. But other than that, he lost us a playoff game. And it's just like, cool, dude, you were a depth piece. Other than Wims, then, because of the bad reasons, could you name me 2 other receivers?
Obviously I can name you guys the free agencies that you guys signed in Byron Pringle.
I'm talking St. Brown. I'm talking in 2018.
Oh, in 2018?
Yeah.
Allen Robinson. Or was Allen Robinson
other than Allen Robinson, other than Wims, just because Wims was like a clear pick just because he punched the Saints guy.
Was Riley Ridley on that team?
He was, but he like hardly ever played. I'll give you props for that. Okay. And the other 2 receivers,
Anthony Miller and Taylor Gabriel.
Yeah. Yep. Hey. So that was basically the wide receiver group, right? And it's like Allen Robinson had an awesome year, except that is a garbage wide receiver room. Their best tight end, I believe, was Adam Shaheen. Wow, that is garbage. It's just like that is a very fluky team. It's not a great team. And if you think about it, it's like, cool, we won a game, but at the same time, speaking of things that Bears fans like to overhype, the second we have any kind of success, we want to think that we're going to the Super Bowl. I can guarantee you right now that 2018 team was not going any farther than maybe past the Eagles had they made that kick. And I will tell you, it is a very, exciting time as a Bears fan. But I think as far as this year goes, the schedule is relatively easy. If everything goes as planned, they'll make the playoffs, but don't be surprised if the momentum makes Chicago fans go nuts. That's my bold take.
Well, to that point, and that's where I was going. I mean, I think you guys have, at least as of right now, stuff changes. I mean, teams get better, teams get worse. But as of right now, going into the season, you guys have the second easiest strength of schedule in the entire NFL. I think you guys can look for the future, but I think it's important to remember not to over hype. You can only play who is on your schedule. And that's the Eagles this year. I mean, we didn't beat we lost to the good teams, beat the bad teams. So it'll be interesting to see how we even do.
Yeah. All right. What are your bold takes for me this week, buddy?
To that point, which I think is ironic because you were talking about Justin Fields being overrated. Jalen Hurts is criminally
Hold on
under.
1 second. He's overrated specifically by Bears
Yeah,
fans,
by
but he is
Bears
properly
fans.
rated by the media at the moment.
And to that point, Jalen Hurts is criminally overhated by Eagles fans and properly rated by the media.
Okay.
The Browns are absolutely winning the Super Bowl. I touched on this on the last podcast. I even said it on our podcast when Coach was on. When Coach was on.
Do you just have to poop, or are you just saying that?
What?
So do you just have to poop, or are you just telling me that? Like,
nope,
do you actually mean
Super
that?
Bowl.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
And Michael Vick is the most talented quarterback of all time.
Okay. I'll tell you this. I don't know if I agree with the Michael Vick. He's pretty athletic. Jalen Hurts I can get behind. But I mean, as those of you know, as far as Ben is concerned, he's very, very against this this topic, I guess. But I root for two teams in the NFL, and that would be the Bears and the Browns, because it's very, very unlikely that they play each other. I think they play each other either once every 3 or 4 years. And then, I mean, the only other time that they would play each other would be in the Super Bowl. And in that case, we just get a bunch of, pizzas and just celebrate because both teams made it. But, I'd be extremely excited if the Browns can go that far. Except I think I could argue against it. So I'm gonna go with the Browns take. Let me hear what you got.
Okay, so so first off, I think as much as we don't want to say it, Baker had a bad year this year. That's not. I mean, no, you're not arguing that. They now just improved on one of their worser positions by getting Amari Cooper, and for that, what, a 6th-round pick, which I mean is a little off topic, but is absolutely crazy. They have a
Odell
top
and
5
Jarvis could come back too.
Yeah. I think Jarvis could come back. I'd be shocked if OBJ. I think
he's shown interest, but
yeah. No, I think I yeah. They have a top 5 offensive line in the league. I mean, you've had this conversation before. Nick Chubb is a top 3 running back in the league.
Can we talk about that really quick?
Hold on. Fine. Let's go for it.
I saw a TikTok on this, and I don't know what your point of view on it, right? So we have Nick Chubb, and he's awesome. He can get you the next 5-6 yards if you really want him to, right? Awesome. They have Kareem Hunt as well, and he does awesome because of the offensive line, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that third string? Dearness Johnson. Yeah, he was pretty good, right? Is it the offensive line, or is it Nick Chubb?
Well, and this is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. That's where I was going. They have a top 5 offensive line in the league. Nick Chubb is producing like a top 3 running back in the league. Their wide receivers is like half figured out. Deshaun Watson, one playing, is a top 3 quarterback, or was a top 3 quarterback in the league. And I mean, that is what he was when he was. I'm not saying that's what he will be. That's what he was when he was playing. And statistically, their defense was a 5th ranked defense in the entire league. That's with budding stars, with guys like JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, in his first year. Newsome at corner in the first round last year. And I mean, really, the only piece that they lost on that defense is
Jadeveon Clowney.
But like you said, he's still out on the market. And you can fix that with these younger stars getting better. You're the top 5 ranked defense in the entire league. And that's with like young guys still trying to figure that out, ranked with the top 5 offensive line, a top 3 quarterback last time he played, a running back that produces top 3 in the entire NFL when he's playing. and Amari Cooper.
I mean,
Nobody has a
okay.
better situation in the NFL, I think. At least looking outside in, and obviously stuff changes. But for me, right now, they are my Super Bowl favorite.
I am very surprised. If you think about it for me, right? Oh geez, man. I mean, I'm trying to find because I made a playoff list. That's fine, whatever. We'll come back to it. Look into it, right? I mean, the Colts are going to the playoffs. Let's face it. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Tennessee. Okay. So I will say Colts are going to the playoffs because of Matt Ryan and an improved wide receiver room after the draft and everything. Colts are going to the playoffs. So I mean, just because they'll win their division, nothing really else.
Okay.
You look into the AFC North, I think the only way that the Browns have a chance at, obviously, statistically speaking, the only way that teams get a playoff bid is if they win the division or, they make the wild card or whatever. The wild card will be a very, very impressive thing to do if you can get there. Do you remember what place the Browns finished in this past season? Let's see. Let me look this up really quick. So as far as the NFL standings go for that, the Browns finished third, right? I think depending on Deshaun Watson's suspension and whether or not Baker Mayfield will play, that will fall into place as far as their record.
Baker's not playing.
What?
Baker's not there. They'll release Baker.
I think they're going to trade him before the draft.
I think it'll be day 2, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. For, whether or not, okay, let's face it, Deshaun Watson will be getting suspended at one point. Yep. Because of that, whoever's starting at quarterback is going to lose him a couple games because he's not starting quality. With that being said, you have an already competitive NFC North with the Bengals and the Ravens, especially if the Ravens can keep themselves very healthy. They're a very underrated team, in my opinion, just because people kind of forgot about them after last season. And then the Bengals definitely improved, this offseason. So you're competing in an already tough division. Let's say that they don't win the division in that case, right? Just because of Deshaun Watson and, let's say he comes back and he's just the same exact guy or whatever, they're still fighting for a wild card spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are forgetting that there is still, a whole other, what is it? Their division is what I'm thinking of. You have the Chiefs that could make the playoffs. You have the Chargers that could make the playoffs. You have the Broncos that could make the playoffs. I think even the Raiders have a playoff bid that they could potentially fight for. All of these teams in that division can already, they can fight for that playoff spot. We're still missing one division. You look at the Bills, the Patriots, the Dolphins, those are all playoff caliber teams. This is a very, very competitive AFC. Do I think the Patriots are making the playoffs? No. Do I think the Dolphins could?
No.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe. I think it's between, the Browns have a chance. They do. Don't get me wrong. They do. They need to make the playoffs first. As we both saw in these past, the last playoff, AFC was way more competitive than the NFC in terms of seeding, in terms of, you add more talent to the AFC, it gets a lot more fun and a lot more competitive. And I will say this, you said that the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl strictly this year. I say there's a chance they don't make the playoffs.
We'll say 2 years. We'll say 2 years.
2 years, I can see that.
But my point is more of Deshaun Watson. Obviously, it's barring anything like if Deshaun Watson is missing half the season, then obviously it's a lot harder to say what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's barring Deshaun Watson. So we'll say 2 years.
Okay. Well, 2 years is a lot more doable, but you also need to factor in there could be a lot more talent and everything going into the AFC, coming out of the AFC and stuff like that. So it's still a toss up, but I'm formulating my opinion and argument off of your previous statement, which was this year. And I completely disagree that they will not win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, all right. So again, the struggle you have to have with this conversation is Deshaun Watson. But I mean, let's look down this roster. Deshaun Watson versus Russell. That's debatable.
We haven't even seen Deshaun Watson play football in over a year.
I understand that. The last time he played, he was a top 3. He was literally a top. You don't just forget how to play football.
Right. No, absolutely. I understand that. I'm just saying, like, think about this for a second. What if Colin Kaepernick came back into the league?
Colin Kaepernick was never as good as Deshaun Watson ever was. And Colin Kaepernick has been way out of the league way longer than what Deshaun has.
I'm just saying, man, you can't make that assumption that he's still going to be top 5.
I'm not going to say he's going to be top 5, but and this is what I'm saying. So strictly a quarterback, we'll give it to Russ. A wide receiver, we'll give to the Broncos. Offensive line, no doubt, Browns. Running back, no doubt, Browns. Defense, no doubt, Browns. So the Browns have a better roster than they do. Defense, absolutely, Browns are better than the Chiefs. Offensive line is a toss-up. With everything that happened right now, I don't like Juju. Wide receiver is also a toss-up. Offensive, these. I think every team that you named, you could absolutely say the Browns have a better roster.
Can I bounce off of yours and make a bold take off of your statement when you get done?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, again, this is barring Deshaun Watson, and that's a big barring. If he plays more than 75% of the games over the Super Bowl, that's my prediction.
Okay. My bold take was that Patrick Mahomes will not be a top 6 quarterback within the next 2 years.
That's bold.
That's what we do around here.
not many guys in the league that I'd take over him.
Joe Burrow.
No. Joe Burrow is not going to be better than no.
I'm saying within the next 2 years.
Still no.
Josh Allen.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers.
In 2 years, I would be surprised if Aaron Rodgers is playing. I'm just going to be honest.
Let's see. Deshaun Watson.
I would take Patrick Mahomes over him.
What?
Yes. Okay. Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. Stop it.
Tell you what, we will save that for another episode because we still need to do Gridiron Goofs. Okay. I'll make that a talking point for episode 13. Stay tuned because that is coming. Gridiron Goofs this week. A little bit of fun. I mean, as it always is. Really quick before we get started, I don't know if I had put it in. I am, as of right now, I am in the process of making an intro song and build up for this podcast. So the second that you guys listen to it, it could very well be put in because of Anchor and stuff like that. So with that being said, there is a gentleman, one of my close friends at the RRSN studios and, one of my broadcasting partners from basketball and stuff like that. His name is Vince Gray, and he is doing our voiceover for the Pigskin Project intro song. So I just wanted to say thank you to that man for doing that. I don't know if you're listening right now, but if you are, thank you very much for doing that for us, dude. We really appreciate you. So with that being said, we're gonna go on to Gridiron Goofs.
I'm gonna cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
We literally talked about talking about this on the podcast. That was a mouthful.
We talked about talking about
this on the podcast. Yeah. We forgot to talk about Tyrann Mathieu.
Yes.
I forgot. Yeah. So
you have it pulled up.
Yeah. their teams with great interest: Cowboys, Colts, Saints, Broncos, Eagles, Ravens, and Steelers. Um, Realistically, I think it's he tweeted something about going to play with the Saints too. Uh, Cryptic.
There's a chance.
Um, I would love to see him go and play with Justin Simmons in Denver. That'd be so much fun. Justin Simmons is a top 5 safety in the NFL, and you pair him with it. But anyways, we forgot to add that in the beginning. That's on us, but Gridiron Goofs.
Yes, completely my fault for not typing that one in. So my apologies. But hopefully next week we'll have some Tyrann Mathieu news, and hopefully the Bears get involved in that because I'd love to have him on the defense. I just don't see him doing it. Anyway, for Gridiron Goofs, best ice cream flavors. We are doing a draft. So as far as ice cream goes, we're just picking 5 of our best ones, and out of these, you cannot pick one that has already been picked. So Ben, without further ado, man, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, do you want to snake this, or how do you want to do this? I'll
Yeah.
go first
Oh,
either way if you want, but
let's just go me, you, and then until we both have 5. It's not
all
going to be
right.
a snake.
Um, keep it simple, stupid. Um, uh, cookie dough. Come on now.
Cookie dough. Okay, that was my number 1 that I put in there, but it's fine.
Heck yeah.
Number 2 flying off the board. Moose Tracks. You got to go Moose Tracks.
Really? Not. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Moose Tracks person. But I would have honestly, now that you say it, I could see it. I would have never thought about that though. Mary, my girlfriend, would absolutely love me taking this at 2. This is her favorite ice cream. Give me cookies and cream.
That was on my big board too. Okay, so let's see. All right. So for me, I'm gonna go with a little bit of a classic. It is March 31st as we record this, but it is just turning April by the time everybody hears this. Mint chocolate chip is gonna be my pick here, just because it reminds me of the Shamrock Shake and stuff like that. I love mint chocolate chip, so call it stupid, but I love it. I love it so much. Mint Oreo is also slept on so much.
I can't stand mint chocolate chip.
Well, I
mean,
can't
that might be
stand
a
you
bold
with your
take.
Treasure Planet pick from last episode that I was
That
on.
might be a
So
bold take, but mint chocolate chip is one of the worst flavors of ice cream. It's terrible.
well, you are one of the worst ice cream critics out there. So I don't know. I'm just kidding. Go ahead with your next pick.
This isn't even cheating in many ways. This feels like cheating, but it's not. Neapolitan.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, see, like it kind of feels like cheating
I
because
think
it's
yeah.
all 3, but
I'll let you
like,
slide.
and you can take you can if you wanted to, you could still take strawberry, you could still take vanilla, and you can still take chocolate. But Neapolitan as a whole.
Okay. Are we doing just overall generic like ice cream flavors, or are we
I
just
mean, you
picking
could do
like
like a Ben and Jerry's if you wanted to,
I
like a
was gonna say
crazy Ben
Cherry
and Jerry's.
Garcia.
Gosh, love it, Ryan. That's I had black cherry in at my 3 slot, but I'm like,
Yep.
Ryan's not gonna pick black cherry, so I'll do Neapolitan.
All right. We got 2 more picks each, buddy.
See, I don't know
Neapolitan.
Neapolitan's fantastic.
This man picks the party favorite that nobody picks straight up chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry out of 1 scoop, man. You got to go one or the other, man. It's divided in thirds. You want some vanilla ice cream? Get some vanilla ice cream. You want some strawberry? Get some strawberry. But you don't combine them, man. Chocolate is the worst, by the way. I just want to say, I hate straight up chocolate. I mean, it's got that, it's like chalky almost. It's like, I don't know. It just makes me want to say, it just sounds weird probably, but it's fine. Everybody's like, what is he doing? Is he like making animal noises into the microphone. I don't know. It's got this weird feeling on the back of my throat when I think of chocolate ice cream. But anyway, okay.
Mhm.
I
We
know my
are
next one.
where you're gonna go with like kid, like my
Oh,
little
dude, I
Ben would
swear to
be
God.
proud. See, there's two different ones I could pick here. It's really quite a toss up. There's two different ones.
Dude.
I would be surprised if you didn't pick the other one. But we're gonna pick bubblegum.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
I
Um,
know which one you're gonna pick too, because I'm gonna be so
I'm gonna
mad
pick
because it's
Superman ice cream.
wow, I did not think you would have known what Superman ice cream was.
Was
I
that
wanted to
the
put it
other
on
one?
this list. No.
Okay,
Um,
so to clear up, I mean, if anybody's ever, never heard of Superman ice cream, or I mean, if it's called something else somewhere else, basically it's like I would almost call it the bomb pops of like actual ice cream, you know what I
mhm.
mean? Just because it combines the yellow, red, and blue colors in it, and it has nothing to do with Superman itself except for the fact that it's the
The
color of the
colors.
suit. According to this website, it has it's Midwestern exclusive ice cream. Okay, so if you're hearing this literally anywhere else, you probably don't know what this is, but it combines flavors of Blue Moon, Red Pop, and vanilla, and it's just awesome. And there's a buffet just down the road from us up here in Indiana that's called Dynasty Buffet, and they also it's a Chinese restaurant, and they also have ice cream for whatever reason. And I always remember as a little kid um taking my fortune cookie and scooping it in in the Superman ice cream, and it tastes
I like
really
that.
good. It's
I like
awesome.
that.
Try it out next time, man. It's really good. But go for it. What's your next pick?
See, I and this would be my last pick. I didn't pick Superman because I was worried people didn't know. Superman personally is my favorite ice cream
It
flavor.
is very good.
And by the way, this isn't my pick, but Blue Moon also fantastic.
Oh, slaps.
Um, but this is the other one that I was really happy that you didn't pick, and we're gonna keep with like the multicolored theme here. And I don't think you would have picked this one either ways. But we're doing cotton candy.
Cotton candy. Okay. Not really too much of a fan of cotton candy. A little fun fact. I
I
mean,
don't like
I'll eat
cotton
it, but
candy, but I like cotton candy flavored things. That's where I'm
for the
at.
last pick, and I will do some honorable mentions as well, just because why not? But for the last pick, I'm gonna do cake batter ice cream. I don't know if you've ever had it or whatever, but it's pretty good. I like it. But my honorable mentions was butterscotch
Mm,
and like peanut butter chocolate or Reese's kind of like blizzard ice cream. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But do you have
no.
any honorable mentions as far as yours go?
Uh, Blue Moon and coconut.
Mm.
Um, I don't know how many people know like what an ice cream soda is, but
Oh,
a
like a root beer
coconut,
float?
kind of.
Okay.
Um, an ice cream soda. Well, and you'll know this. When people that live near us know what this is, Valpo Velvet has this thing called ice cream soda. And it's kind of like a root beer float, but it's like a shake, but they
Hmm.
mix in. It's like if a shake and a let's say root beer float, for example, had a baby. So instead of it being like one on top of the other, like blended together.
Okay. Solid.
Um, they have Valpo Velvet has a coconut ice cream soda, and it is phenomenal. Mm,
I might have to
but
try it out next time you're up here in the summer or something like that.
you got to.
But all right. Well, just to review really quick before we clear things up, Ben's draft went cookie dough, then cookies and cream, Neapolitan, then bubblegum, and then cotton candy. And then mine was Moose Tracks, mint chocolate chip, cherry Garcia, Superman, and then cake batter. I know my dad's listening to this probably and just being like, dude, you forgot this one. And then I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, I did.
Mm,
So I know that he'll let me know that later on. But if you made it this far, we want to say thank you for listening all the way through. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Pigskin Project. We know that it was a little bit long, but we do have a lot scheduled for next week's show, including more off-season previews and much, much more. So make sure that you're subscribed or following us on all platforms. I have them down in a link tree on our Twitter page and stuff like that as well. We'd like to give a big thank you to Anchor.fm and Uppercuts Grooming. That's new. I got to start getting used to that in our little sponsorship portion. Please leave a review down below, as it helps us more than you know. And that's it for this week. So thanks again for tuning in to the Pigskin Project. And man, does it feel good to be back.